Day to all the mothers tuning in this afternoon, and what a fine choice it is. And one of the mothers' favourites, Joe Cullen, one of the young bucks, one of the quiffmeisters as well. There's a lot of quiffage going on with dart players at the minute, and it was one of the best quiffs in the tournament. Kevin Knopf, that Adrian Lewis dispatched yesterday. Arguably, he didn't really get out of second gear. He didn't have to, but he got the job done against a crowd that really were baying for blood and an opponent who was a little jittery. But he'll be very happy to be in the draw today playing against Joe, who came through a classic with Nathan Aspinall.
Yeah, it was an absolute belter. He beat Nathan Aspinall 6-4, despite the fact Aspinall posted an average of 101.25. Cullen himself just a shade above that, 101.49. It was a great match to really get things going on a Saturday night here in Hildesheim. Not that this crowd needed any encouragement to do that.
No, not really.
But it was a tough assignment for Joe, coming up against the recent UK Open winner, especially given the way that Aspinall had opened his account on Friday.
And I think it's fascinating that if Joe Cullen is to win his first European Tour event, the likely route is not kind. I mean, it shouldn't be, but you got Aspinall in his first game, which was a bit of a nasty draw, and then he's got Lewis.
Well, it's the thing is, these players in the top half of the draw have no immediate benefit of Michael van Gerwen's departure yesterday, because they wouldn't have met him until the final anyway. And this is no disrespect to all the players left in the field, but the fact is 13 seeded players went through anyway, and I think in many ways that makes things even tougher, especially for those in the top half.
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, the winner of this one gets snaky, and then after that there's every likelihood it's going to be Rob Cross or Darryl Gurney. I mean, even if it is Ian White to Stephen Bunting, it's still not easy. But double 8 for Adrian Lewis, and that is a very good sign. That one's right in the middle. And a break it through to start. And Adrian Lewis is pacing himself very well this weekend. Like I mentioned, he didn't have to go all guns blazing yesterday, but today he does have to lift it a little bit, and he does look a lot more focused.
Yeah, it's all about pacing yourself on these final days on the Euro Tour. It's promises to be another warm day, maybe not as hot as yesterday, but by late last night it was really telling on the faces of the players involved.
Well, yesterday you were in a t-shirt and I was in a polo shirt. Today we've both got jackets on, so there you go.
Bit of warm up, and the darts will warm up as well. There's another 180 for Lewis. They did meet also in the Danish Open last year as well. That was also a quarter-final. Lewis won that one 6-2, and they had a fairly recent encounter at the World Championship as well, in the 2017 World Championship. Second round match, and Lewis floored Joe Cullen that day 4-0.
I think it's fair to say that Ali Pali is not Joe's best hunting ground. He may have had the best win of his career at that tournament against Corey Cadby, which is one of the most entertaining matches I've ever witnessed.
And feisty.
But ordinarily, Ali Pali's not his best place to play, but will Lewis go for the bull if he gets to 57? We're about to find out. The answer is yes, and the answer is yes again by hitting it.
Well, in the first match of the day, if you're just joining us, Peter Wright, a 1-3-1 checkout to go 2-0 up against Jermaine Watanabe, and he wrapped up the win with a 1-4-4. But there we've just seen another brilliant finish to go with the abundance of others that we've had already this weekend as well.
Yeah, Joe's not really got out of the blocks yet. He's only averaging something like 77. Adrian, steady away around 96. Early stages, of course, but it is a gauge of how they have adapted to conditions today. And I've always said that the hot conditions of yesterday are to the detriment of some players, but the guys who can handle it, it's really good for them because it keeps their muscles nice and supple. And we saw that with amazing averages and performances yesterday from the likes of Joe and Keegan Brown. Adrian got away with it yesterday. It wasn't as hot yesterday afternoon. 57. And I think this kind of condition suits Adrian more. I think he likes it to be a bit more tepid.
Yeah, he only averaged 87.3 against Kevin Knopf in that 6-3 win. He wasn't too emphatic on his finishing either. But his darts today so far are pretty impressive. 6 from 18, in fact, on his doubles yesterday.
He's strangling Joe Cullen with the scoring ability, and that 180 has turned this leg on its head a little bit. Now, can he get rid of this 88 with an 18 and another bullseye?
63.
Not quite. So Joe Cullen, first realistic chance.
Double 10. And that'll do. Joe Cullen off the mark with a 77 shutout. Joe Cullen, of course, last year steps up a level by reaching the World Match Play quarterfinals, his second TV quarterfinal. He then made a debut appearance in a TV semi-final by reaching the last four of the European Championship.
Should have won both games. Should have won the
both
quarter
games,
against
yeah.
Gary.
Epic 1917 defeat by Anderson in Blackpool.
He should have beat Whitlock in Dortmund as well. At the Europeans, he knows he should have.
140.
It's been a lot of that over the last 12 months. The should have won that game, should have won that game. There's another one as well. He should have beat Gezi Price and Graz to make the final against Johnny Clayton. That one
that really
hit him
hurt.
hard.
That really hurt. I remember his reaction backstage as he came to terms with that as he made his way back to the players' room. It was really telling, and it really gave me a really good indication of how much this matters to not just Joe Cullen but to players in general.
38. Adrian requires 66.
Talking of big finishes, by the way, Cullen took out the 170 in that defeat by Anderson in Blackpool.
He did.
56 for Lewis here, so tops for a 3-1 lead.
Oh, that looks assured, doesn't it?
Nice and smooth from Adrian Lewis so far.
It looks very, very good indeed. He's averaging very high. His first dart stats are off the charts. He's over 40 with his first dart. That's a massively good sign for Adrian.
Very encouraging indeed. 3 from 5 on his checkout so far. It's a 12 darter as well, that fourth leg.
I'll tell you what, if he's playing like this, he must have been practicing well.
100.
And a lot of people said to me this morning, who do you fancy to win today now that MVG's out? And the first name that sprang to mind was Lewis. It really was. Because sometimes, if you look at the statistics over the course of the past 10 years, there are a lot of great players who have clusters of wins. And Adrian is no different. And now that he's got that win a couple of weeks ago, it wouldn't shock me if he got it today. And especially with this performance. But Cullen, no big checkout. And Lewis, the way he's playing, should get one dart for the leg. Go 4-1 ahead.
Well, Cullen hasn't had too many sniffs at the double so far today. Just one, in fact. But he should get one here.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Traditionally, it's treble 10, but a lot of people go treble 14 now. Single 20 for double 16. It's all around the board, but there's preferable stuff there. People love double 12. It's a half decent split if you go inside because people love double 6. And if you get the single 14, you've got choices. So 14 off 66 is 52. You can go down for 16 and go double 18. You can go single 20 for double 16. That's exactly what Joe did to get within 1. He's doing very, very well here, Joe. He's not playing his best, but he's scrapping well. And sometimes the formula for beating someone who was averaging 113 is not to average 116. It's about taking the chances that you can create. And that's why Joe Cullen's got 2 legs on the board.
60.
Well, after beating Adrian Lewis in that quarter-final last year, Cullen was then handed a real hiding by Michael van Gerwen in the semi-finals, losing 7-0. Van Gerwen, up until then, had been demolishing everything in his path anyway. I think it was only Chizzy that had taken a leg off him on the way to that semi-final.
44.
And then he got run close by the biscuit.
In the end, yeah. 8-6 it was in the final. Lewis, 192 minus these.
Yeah, we will see James Wilson at the end of the afternoon session against Keegan Brown. It could have been a final rematch if MVG got through, but the flawless needle that is Keegan Brown will be mounting an assault against the biscuit in game 8. It was double 16 for Lewis.
76.
No panic because Joe is not in the finishing zone, but he will have wanted to get rid of that just to maintain that excellent flow of play that he's had throughout the course of this match.
Adrian, you require 16. Game shot.
Let's leave it again by Lewis on the finishing.
Second attempt to first game on.
4 from 8.
Not bad, not bad. We have seen some ridiculous finishing stats this week. From Nathan Aspinall, he was up at 86% on Friday, 100% from Keegan Brown yesterday. I'm sure that this place has something about it that lends itself to great darts. I say that about certain places. I say that about Leverkusen, probably one of the reasons why we got a 9 darter last week, and we got a 170. And this place is the perfect size and the perfect temperature to play great darts today.
59.
There's a lot of talk in the practice room and in the backstage area about things like Whitlock not being here and choosing to go to the Philippines over playing a European Tour event, and as a consequence he has now lost his seeding for European Tour events in the middle of the season, so he's going to start battling at qualifiers again unless somebody drops out of course, which is unlikely. But now they're shifting their attention to the fact that Michael Smith has to have a good couple of Euro Tours, otherwise he is going to have to go back to qualifiers in the middle of the season as well, which is not good news for Bully Boy.
This could be good news for Adrian Lewis. And there's a chance here that Lewis might break for a second time. He broke in the first leg.
He stayed on that 60. He just felt that that was a better chance than going for the bull or the 42. And I think he made the right choice there, just pulled it a little. And Lewis, looking for another excellent leg to go within 1. This has been a great performance from Adrian.
Yeah, a 13 dart breaker throw for Adrian Lewis. He breaks for a second time. And he's now 1 leg away. And I think many people would have had this one down as a potential 6-5, or certainly a match that might be an extended affair. But Lewis is making fairly swift work of this because he's throwing for the match.
Well, there's a lot of people out there who thought that Adrian was on the wane, you know, about 2 years ago. And for me,
I wasn't one of them.
it was just one of those times that every professional goes through in any sport. And he is making this 110 average look pedestrian. It looks like a very good performance, but when you break it down, it is rather spectacular.
134.
And both of these players, of course, will have been on the old smartphones this morning, sending Mother's Day wishes back to their respective partners. And I'm sure they're having lovely Mother's Days. Maybe Sarah's having a better one than Tony right now, because it looks like Adrian's going to get through.
Yeah, and it would set up a meeting with Peter Wright. 2 European Tour champions meeting in the quarterfinals. Well, okay.
Now we can't see treble 18. Might have to look at somewhere else.
78 away, 60 away. So we'll just set this up. Cullen on 239. No need to press any panic buttons there for Adrian Lewis. Didn't need to be too adventurous in trying to salvage that situation after that rogue first dart. Adrian Lewis on the cusp now of a place in the quarterfinals of the German Darts Championship. His finishing has been good today, and it's good enough once again. And Adrian Lewis wraps up a 6-2 win at the expense of the number 11 seed Joe Cullen.